All right, everybody, welcome back, and we have got our series all tied up 1-1 to kick things off. It certainly looks like it could go the distance. Hey, everybody, I am still Pyra. He is still Clement, and our sponsors, they haven't changed either, funnily enough. They're CTBC Bank, China Airlines, Chunghwa Telecom, and, of course, Caliber. Now, Clement, we've really seen the duality of this matchup so far. The game plan executed in Game 1 by Hong Kong Attitude, and in Game 2, it was all J-Team. But now we've got a little bit of a swippy swap on the side selection. So what do you think changes coming into this next draft?
The big thing really is the Renekton pick so far. I think that is the critical piece of the puzzle that is missing from Hong Kong Attitude. With Renekton, you're able to participate in early Drake fights a lot easier, and you also get the opportunity to then pick Diana, which goes very well with Renekton. So I think the blue side swap is completely for that reason. And if we think about the bottom lane picks, I actually feel like Eminem is not really forced to go into Aphelios threat. So of course Aphelios is still probably the best answer here, but he also has the Ziggs online as well, so he could swap between either. And from what we've seen of Little V's Ziggs, I think Eminem is a far better Ziggs. I feel like if Lil V gets Ziggs and they still get Aphelios, Hong Kong Attitude are definitely happy with that. Like that, there's no question in my mind that they're willing to play out that matchup despite conventionally Ziggs having the higher win rate across the board against Aphelios.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So blue side should certainly help them out, and Diana is one of those carry jungle picks that, you know, for the most part, so many of them have been denied from Kongye because there's been 4 of them banned out against him. And that certainly should change the calculus a little bit. I'm wondering for Bivin what this means, though, because what we've seen in the past when Bivin hasn't been allowed the Twisted Fate is he just kind of goes for that early pickup on the Lee Sin, which is a flex pick. But I kind of feel like it looks better for Bivin just because he kind of needs either that or TF, as opposed to Kongye, who has some options. I wonder what's going to be going on in this mid lane this time around as we get into picks and bans.
Yeah, the Lee Sin pick for Bivin is, I think it might be necessary if they're going for Diana, but it's not going to be a very happy situation. Lee Sin without the potential to wave clear very well has made him much more reliant on jungle pressure to help him out. I love this man from J-Team, reading the draft very well. So they most likely will open up one pick either of the Gwen or the Diana at this point, but if you ban the Renekton, you don't really have to ban the Diana, so it should still be Gwen locked down here, would be my guess.
J-Team are taking their time to think about it, but no, they actually opt to ban the Twisted Fate, so that should be the Gwen pickup. It just means Bivin might have a bit of a harder time here. You have to think that Gwen would get snapped up by J-Team if it doesn't go this time, if they decide to opt for the Lee Sin. I think this will be very telling for Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah, very interesting. So there are a couple of power picks. Aphelios is up, Gwen is up here, but I do think Gwen should be what?
They go Syndra? Okay. That doesn't seem like a Bivin champion.
Calm down. I just want to tell you that this is actually one of Bivin's best champions in the amateur scene.
Okay.
That is true. It really hasn't worked out for him in PCS, though. I will say that. So
that's kind of what I was going off. I hadn't actually followed his amateur career, but you know what? Maybe this is the time. Maybe he's been practicing with it, and with the Lee Sin locked in, they still have the opportunity to go for the Gwen.
True. So this is very interesting for me because like early Gwen on a Hong Kong Attitude is very scary because they can swap it between multiple positions here. It does look like Hong Kong Attitude might be a little bit scared to just go full on into a double AP composition that like Gwen Syndra is going to lose to LeBlanc Lee Sin 100% of the time. So they might be a little bit afraid of that. They're not actually going to go for the Gwen. They're just going to leave it open here. Going for the Wombo combo instead with the Galio. What?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. A little bit odd if they go for that to see where the Syndra versus the Galio goes, but the Camille does give Rock some opportunities to really set up engages earlier on, and okay, they're kind of playing around. I feel like it's going to end up going back to it at the end with the Trundle. Now, this is technically a flex pickup.
We have seen K play this a lot of times here. So what Hong Kong Attitude are doing is that they're trying to mind game J-Team about sending Syndra and Trundle into the bot lane. J-Team does have Aphelios open, and that would normally be their go-to, but they have to factor in the possibility of just this not actually even being a Bivin pick. I like what J-Team are doing here. They're pretty much making sure that there isn't going to be a hard carry late game coming in from Kongyue. Most of the times you just assume that Trundle is going to go jungle, but J-Team are making sure that the big four are off the table. They have the ban phase to go for Nidalee's too. So I really like this ban phase coming out from them. You know, they can still prop down the same ban Xin Zhao Nidalee and just make sure, absolutely certain, that Kongyue doesn't have a carry.
Yeah, it seems to be the strategy that works out, is deny Kongyue from being able to get the carry for himself. But J-Team actually end up banning out this Lissandra for the
I don't
LeBlanc
think this
counter
is
matchup.
Yeah,
I feel like they're not sure where Hong Kong Attitude are going. And interesting.
I think they're overthinking this, to be absolutely honest. I think
it's not the first time it's happened.
Champion, and you call it a day. Like, if Kongyue plays Trundle, like, it's whatever, man. It's like, he's not going to snowball on Trundle. So I'd much rather just ban out the other big picks here. Even if it's a double AP comp, I would still much rather ban it out. J-Team, Gwen is pretty much locked in the top lane, so they have this bot side to play around. They have super strong jungle mid, so even if their side lanes are all weak, it doesn't really matter. They ban the Xin Zhao, but they do leave the Nid up at the very end. We'll see what happens here. This is still pretty risky for me. You can run a pretty good poke comp with Syndra, Nidalee, and Trundle.
Yeah, there's always that possibility, so we'll see if Hong Kong Attitude opt into it. But for J-Team, we now got to see what the bottom side of the map's going to look like, and a lot of AD carries, a couple supports already removed from that pool. Felios is not one of those champions that's removed, though, as you pointed out.
They could play it safe and just go for Ezreal here. That's like the much more safer option, but I feel like Aphelios is still strong enough where I'd be willing to just lock it. You're playing through mid jungle anyway, so side lane isn't all that important. Hong Kong Attitude looks like they're going to be the ones going for the safer route here, and it does look like some sort of a poke composition on outside of the top lane, and this is where we really get to see if that Nidalee is going to come through, or if they're it's still going to be a jungle
Diana's still left up. It's a possibility. I mean, we could look to set this one up, but layered lockdown, not quite the same as what we were hoping for.
Diana at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think Diana here actually facilitates the rest of the picks.
They're going to go for it anyways, though. Trusting on Kongyue's ability to step it up and carry. And, you know, they have a fair amount of poke apart from that champion. It seems like the strategy might be to just try and get as much damage out early and use the Diana for the execution. Last answer is to see what J-Team do for their bottom pickup, and a little bit of fun flashing on that action, not available. Players can still hover it. That's going to be a Vayne for Lil V. Ooh, ah. Okay.
Wow, this is a very interesting one. Like, Vayne is one of those picks that rarely comes out, but when it does, it typically has a very strong matchup. We have seen mainly it go up against Kai'Sa in the bottom side. Ezreal doesn't really win that many 1v1 AD carry matchups, so there's a lot of different picks that you could go for to take that one down. But they are going to go for the Vayne, and I'm a little bit curious why this is. I think it actually has a decent time against something like Diana and Camille. Like, you can actually condemn Camille outside of the Hextech Ultimatum to cancel her ult. That could be an option, or to stop the Lunar Rush, which it does not have Unstoppable. So I think those condemn interactions are going to be very interesting, and they are great combo breakers in this sense. The main catch combination is going to be coming from Hextech Ultimatum plus Moonfall, so if you can stop one or the other, then it definitely helps your chances at survival. Very interesting pick, kind of oddball-y, but I actually like the ideas here.
Yeah, you know, J-Team really pulling out some creativity, and of course, you know, they're working around the idea that they want to deny Kongyue as much as possible, so they not only ban a number of picks, but they take away a number of them. I mean, these are two Kongyue champions in different roles for J-Team right now, but they get their hands on the Gwen. They also get the Lee Sin. I'm curious to see if Bivin can make this Syndra work, going back to the amateur days, but that is a fair amount of AP on the side of Hong Kong Attitude. They're kind of putting a lot of eggs in that basket. We'll see if Kongyue can carry on this Diana pickup, and you know, it's a bit of a combo that can either come up huge, but if it gets denied, it could be a little bit rough for them. J-Team 1-1 now in this series. They have the momentum going into this game. We'll see if they can ride that one to another victory.
do have a lot of carry points this time around. The Vayne, the Gwen coming out. Deeper we go into the series, the more unique picks are coming out from both sides here. And we do get to see a glimpse of Bivin Syndra. This was a champion that did win him an amateur tournament. A lot of the ex-pros did go for amateur scene, just because the prize pool was actually a little bit larger there. So we'll see if he can carry in his success.
30 seconds until minions.
We'll start things off. J-Team are actually going to be the ones finding the early cheese here as Rock gets caught out. And scissors versus scissors for legs. Turns out regular scissors win.
Definitely is going to be the case here. Just taking a look at the runes, do have something quite special out here from Rest. Actually going to go for the grass. You usually think of Gwen as more of a sustained damage dealer, but this time around going for the resolve tree. We'll see how that one actually works out. It's definitely possible that the changes come because of that level 1 nerf to Gwen, where she gets 20% less attack speed on the skip and slash. So maybe she's looking at this as more of like a poke war instead of the sustained auto attack trades that we get from previous Gwens in the older patches.
Yeah, no, curious to see how well it works out for Rest this time around, and that top lane matchup will be one to watch for a little bit. And so will be this bottom side is Lil V. You know, the laning phase maybe not as much, but certainly when it gets into those global fights, we'll be keeping an eye, as there is no inherent teleport advantage in this game like there has been in others, just the solo lanes only. We'll kick things off here. Mission on the LeBlanc. We did see some struggles with him on this champion in the series against PSG. But to be fair, it's PSG.
Yeah, and this is still, at the end of the day, one of Mission's best champions, especially in the laning phase. I was very surprised that they decided to ban out the Lissandra. I felt like Lissandra and Bivin's not really a threat, especially we have seen Mission just be able to chunk out Lissandras in the laning phase quite well in the past. Now, I do think for Hong Kong Attitude, there's a lot of weak spots here coming in from the top side. If you just look at the lanes, I think Gwen and LeBlanc should be able to help out Hana a little bit faster, so we could just be seeing an early skirmish onto the top side here. The ward was dropped on the blue buff, so they know that Diana has to pass towards that side. We'll see if they decide to go for some aggressive action here.
Ooh. Good trade from Rock onto Rest there, and does get the adaptive shielding coming in after the fact. And Bivin, still keeping even in farm, but we have seen that Mission has kind of outclassed him a little bit in the laning phase, or most of this series so far, and not a huge surprise there. Hana will be coming up on a roam up top side, and got to be careful though. He could be running straight into Kongye. Doesn't actually see him just yet.
There we go.
There we go. Gonna go in onto the Sonic Wave. He goes, and whoa, that's a lot of damage early on, and comes in, steals his Gromp away. Nice bully maneuver from Hana.
Yeah, if I'm Kongye, I'm not bringing my lunch money to school whatsoever. Like, just the setup is a very clear indication that you're just not going to be able to get your camps done, and that's why I was very suspect on the Diana pick. I feel like Diana is going to have such a hard time coming back into this game, and even with the Camille setup, I think at most a lot of times it's going to be assists rather than full-on kills here. So
right.
It just feels like Hong Kong Attitude are banking on the fact that they have the potential to outplay through their own individual mechanics to get Kongye going.
Well, that is typically a Hong Kong Attitude special. We'll see if it works out for him. But yeah, Kongye going to get slowed down just a little bit there. I mean, honestly, Hana's just had such a great start to this series, I think. Like, really, really impressive performance on this Lee Sin once. Let's see if he's going to be able to do it again. Can't really say too much about the first game. But yeah, Hana is definitely a player that's had a lot of great improvement and has really kind of leveled himself up. And, kind of is a big catalyst for his team, but he can make the big plays as well. Here he comes up topside once more.
Okay, Russ is going in. If Rock uses the hook shot here, I think Hana stays. There we go.
And he does. Immediately the Ignite. Rock knows something is up, and Hana's just going to slow walk this one in, finding all the damage he needs. Rock, shielding is on. Actually going to be able to walk away with this one. Oh boy.
Wow, really nicely done. Holds on to the adaptive shield. It doesn't really hold on, but waits until the cooldown there. Finally find the getaway, so well done on his part. I thought he was going to get punished for sure there, but he actually ends up wasting a bit of Hana's time, and now we have even camps from Kongye.
I caster cursed him, man. Hate when that happens. Okay, Mission steps in, Mission steps out. Kongye back here, going in. Doesn't have Moonfall yet, only level 4, so can't really do too much more. Mission's able to stay safe.
Just a bit of damage being done left and right there. Still a pretty decent front from the Diana. We do see her on even camps, and that means she's going to be able to hit level 6, go into that first Drake fight on an even footing with Hana, which is absolutely massive coming from this composition. I will say that J-Team, their comp is uniquely suited to go for chase downs. So if they find a pick, the rest of your entire team is dying. You're going to have Night Hunter coming out from Lil V with that extra movement speed. You have Needlework coming in with the snips. So HKA have to be very careful. They need to go in with a massive first punch and make sure that there is no retaliation.
Yeah, they want to go back to what happened in Game 1, where they were able to just delete people quickly. Now, they don't quite have the same setup as we talked about, this amazing combo between the Twisted Fate and Italy, and also just incredible hooks coming out of K, but it's not the same toolkit they're working with this time around. So they will be playing a different level, I would think. Now, Hana does manage to solo out this first Mountain Dragon. Now, this is something J-Team have been very good at so far, is getting the early objectives, or at least starting up the early objectives. And Bivin playing on the edge a little bit here. Both Woody and K are around, and trying to deny the follow-up damage. Bivin could be in trouble here, holding onto his flash for now. Meanwhile, K just tanking all the damage. He burns his own, and he does walk away. Meanwhile, we got first blood up top as Kongi and Rock comboed onto rest.
Yeah, Hextech Ultimatum straight for the kill. Not even the needlework and healing is going to save him there. Great play. J-Team don't find a single kill in the mid lane. I thought level 3 K was probably going to go down, but he even gets out with the exhaust intact. So
incredible, actually.
Yeah, that was such a good play from K, actually bumping the Leona backwards. So the Zenith Blade actually missed out on distance. We're going to be taking a look at the top side right here.
What a great hook shot.
That was beautiful. He does even get the stop.
This is the other thing about what this combination can do, right? Is like normally Gwen's Mist is, well, I'll talk about that in a minute because Woody taken very low. Normally Gwen's Mist is a pretty good deterrent, but not against two players that want to dive into your face.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for him. Not much he could really do on that play. He also didn't have the HP items to survive that one either. So good snowballing point from Diana and the Camille coming in here. That's going to be the main catalyst for the team. I feel like the rest of the squad is just there to provide like long-range support, and hopefully the first two can get a good pick and they can snowball the fight.
Just shred the health bars, and then you can kind of do the finishing blow, right? It's like a turn-based RPG, like your old JRPGs, right? You want to like just shred down the bad guy and then just do the big hit to finish him off for the swag points.
That's really going to be the... I think these team fights are going to be over in an instant. If the initial strike from Moonfall does not land well, then Lil V will just straight up clean the entire team fight. No one's going to survive Lil V chasing them down. Honestly, Vayne has a very easy time against Syndra. It's kind of hard to actually stun her with Scatter the Weak, with how mobile she is, just left to right. She has a lot of vertical, lateral movement when she's coming in onto you. So we will see in this one. Again, the critical thing here, I think J-Team is doing this very correct, is that Hextech Ultimatum cooldown is down, so is Arcane Barrage, and so is Scatter the Weak. So this is a great time for J-Team to start getting a critical teamfight win.
They thought about contesting it anyways, but meanwhile, Hana goes into the kickback sideways, and they turn around once again, a big moonfall, and Bivin is able to shut Hana down, but can they follow through here? The Rift Herald does fall down. It's going to be stolen away this time around, but... oh boy, that's a quick 2 for 3 in favor of J-Team, but they can't secure the Herald.
Yeah, that was close to being utter disaster for Hong Kong Attitude. I was very surprised that they were full commit to that game, but Konya really saved the day there. Gets a 3-man Moonfall with the full pull into Bivin, who wasn't knocked out by the Dragon's Rage, able to get a double on Scatter the Weak. That was just absolutely great, and Hextech Ultimatum also comes up for them to finish off a kill right here. So at the end of the day, it's not as bad as it could be. They do lose 1 extra kill, but honestly, in that situation, it counts as a denial of the Herald. So Hong Kong Attitude walk away with a lot more than I thought that they deserved.
Well, they just got away with it, right? I mean, Hana was focused on getting the kill. He gets denied, and then basically, as everyone's busy skirmishing, Kay just walks up and autos the Rift Herald to kill him. They weren't going to be able to walk away with it, but, nice presence of mind. Honestly, I want to give Kay a lot of credit this series. I think the individual micro plays, it's easy to overlook when there's just so many flashy players, but a support can do quite a lot of work, and sometimes it's just an auto.
It was absolutely great from him. I think probably all highlight Trundle plays look kind of like that, just him walking up and biting your face off, but...
Or throwing a pillar at the perfect time. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Trundle's not the flashiest champion in the world.
That's why I love him. He's
the job
down to
done.
earth. Like, he's a blue-collar champion for me. He's like...
He's actually up to earth. He brings the earth with him. That's what the pillar is.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
J-Team are not responding to this whatsoever. Huh. He's just dead here.
Rest
There
really
is no
doesn't have a
TP.
lot he can do right now. Viven's going to move forward. It's kind of full telegraph, but, like, I mean, yeah, he's just got to walk away.
Okay. That's... that actually ends up favoring J-Team if they're not going to try for the kill here. That buys a lot of time, and if you look at the bot lane,
there's a
Vayne is
rotation.
getting solo EXP.
Everyone's actually coming up to the top now. Rest is actually going to open up on the needlework, trying to shred the wave here, and Hong Kong Attitude don't want this. Viven take way too many tower shots. Scout of the week, unleash the power, and they
Mission
can't
goes
quite
down
finally finishing off mission, but now the turnaround Kongye walking away from it. Oh, man. How do they get away with that?
Yeah, that was... Hong Kong Attitude were way too timid with that play. They 100% should have just tried to kill Rest right off the bat. They had a 3v1 advantage, and Lil V is actually free farming bot, so they're on a timer there. Fortunately enough, they actually get bailed out by Mission, who actually just dies there. So...
Yeah. Ooh. Hey, Lil V, playing on a knife's edge. He knows he's got the condemn. Yeah, so, like, that was a weird series of events, so... Uncharacteristically, Hong Kong Attitude do not go for the dive. And this happens.
Yeah. This was, like, they definitely wanted to go for the kill. I don't really fault Mission for this, but the execution just meant that he actually ends up being the one going down, and they don't trade anything back on the back end. So Hong Kong Attitude kind of then get bailed out by J-Team's mistake. But for me, 100% the correct play was you have to kill Rest, and then you deal with the rest of the members coming in afterwards in that play. You have a 3-1 lead on that with Hextech Ultimatum. There is no reason not to just kill him right on the spot. In terms of the tempo trade, I actually favor J-Team's lead here because the gold was concentrated on Vayne, while Hong Kong Attitude had to split between 3 different members. And that's usually a lot more beneficial to the person that's getting solo gold right now. And we do see the early mythic from Lil V already.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks good for the Vayne. And, you know, for J-Team, they also managed to secure up a dragon off the back timers. And we have an Infernal Soul for the first time, or Infernal Rift, I should say, for the first time in this series. And I think this should definitely favor J-Team. I mean, both teams are going to want it. Let's be honest. But J-Team in a much better position, and you know, with the damage that they're actually bringing, this becomes some terrifying late game for J-Team.
Yeah, like Hong Kong Attitude, you have to break this at some point. Like J-Team, very strong bottom lane, and they also sack their entire bottom lane. They're not going to go back into that Vayne lane whatsoever. So that lane, if they don't swap lane allocations, is just always going to be in favor of J-Team. That's what they have to break at this point. I think we're really looking at Kongye to do that. But he doesn't have a great combo piece in the bot side. That's what I'm worried with. Like, he has great combo pieces on Rock. I think in the third Drake, they will have to send this Camille into the bot side just to find a big play and make sure that Drake stacking doesn't go on.
Yeah. And you called it, by the way, Clement. You were talking about how this combination between the Camille and the Diana definitely looked more like the Camille was going to be the one picking up kills. So far, that has borne out. Kongye has not been able to finish one of them himself, but not for lack of trying. And here he is up topside once again, and Rest hitting him with the manners. Oh, he might pay for it now. Nope, he's fine.
That was so unnecessary, but I love it. I'm not gonna lie.
Rest is the BM king, and he's gonna be punished for his hubris here, I think. Nowhere for the Gwen to really go, and they really follow through. Oh, wait a second, backup was coming! Oh no, what a kick! And now there's absolutely nowhere for Kongye to go as he gets the Moonfall sunk in. K way too late to the party, the double kill for Mission, and they might turn it into even more. Solar Flare lands. K can't quite two-step it, and this has gone from looking a little close to really in favor of J-Team. Holy moly, Lil V just free farming bot while it's all happening.
J-Team win on both sides of the map. The psychological warfare from Rest was too much for Hong Kong Attitude to handle. They could not stand the taunts. They had to go in on him. But this time around, the play was so much closer. Rest gets his miss off during the power unleashed. And then you have Hana plus Mission flashing in to clean up the kills. That's 4 deaths on the side of on Hong Kong Attitude with free farm in the bot lane. J-Team has got this on lockdown. I don't see J-Team ever giving up this lead from this point.
they're playing a lot better. The execution is there. You can see Hong Kong Attitude really indecisive in this one, and you know they don't scale comparatively. The objectives just haven't been theirs. Sure, they've been able to deny at least one, but it's not mattered all that much. Meanwhile, Rest's going to turn under Rock. Once again, Kongye is here, but he's not falling for that one. Also, Hana not too far away if he wanted it. And a lot of action focused topside. You even got Woody hanging about. Here we go. Windfall pulled in. And, well, Rest is going down. This time, Kongye gets his due. We'll see if anything else is happening here. As the Scout of the Week comes out, the chains land onto Bivin. Gonna get locked down.
Does that
Here comes K. Unleash the power, turn it around. Oh, but he deletes him. Oy vey.
Beautiful play from Mission.
Better.
Essentially a 1v2 there, and he still gets the kill regardless. As a Syndra, you can't really be pushing this far up in lane. Just kind of an odd positioning from Syndra at this point. I think you overestimated how much K could actually help in that situation.
Yeah, I kind of overtrusted a little bit. True Shot Barrage just come through the clip, and that is about it, unfortunately. So J-Team definitely in full control. They have the gold lead, they have the dragon lead, and they have the scaling on their side. Definitely should be pretty happy with how things are going at the moment.
Yeah, I think the comeback play for Hong Kong Attitude has to be Kongya just finding Lil V and taking him out. But if you look at his situation right now, he's still sitting on full summoners. So that's going to be very hard to do. He's been able to acquire leads by PvE farming, and that's not very taxing on your summoners.
No,
There's no one really
not.
opposing you. So
also, Mission is kind of fed at this point too, so that's also a threat you got to worry about. Woody does get caught, but I mean, Lil V's here, Hana's here. Hong Kong Attitude are just going to try to force down mid, but yeah, I don't even know about their 5v5 right now. You really need to see this combo coming through to delete a target quickly, and this is going to be the Drake fight. Infernal already down to half health with Woody. He goes in, lands not enough onto everybody, but it doesn't really matter as the turnaround comes in. He's actually able to get into stasis. Rock gonna be instantly deleted as he just couldn't do a thing. And Rest, standing on the front, has enough time between the needlework to even throw out the back BM.
Yeah, a really nice play coming out here. Bivin is gonna try and a little bit of weird of a TP coming in from Bivin. I'm not sure probably teleport straight to the top lane. Yeah.
I think Hong Kong Attitude are they're just unsure of what to do here. There's even going to be another Shelly charge. Oh, don't quite get it.
Two-man?
Kongye finds two. Can they actually turn a fight? That's the question. But meanwhile, Hana
locking
up the Ezreal. Absolutely nothing he can do. Mission going to be able to kite away with Hana as well, and J-Team get absolutely everything. As Rock looks to chase Mission down, but here's Little V coming back in once more. And with Hana there, oh, they just couldn't find it. Scatter the weak, but are they even weak enough? Kongye for round two, does find one, does find two. Looks for Mission. Maybe this is the shutdown, the turnaround. They actually do manage to find some kills, but unfortunately they lose Bivin and Eminem off the back, and now Kongye, unfortunately, being chased down away from his own base.
And he drops down too, so nothing on the backside there for Hong Kong Attitude. They really just get ambushed by Lil V. Like, Lil V flashes into Scatter the Weak, but it doesn't matter. He still is able to pick up the kills right there. Kongye gets something back, but critically, this is a 6,000 gold lead going into a 21-minute Infernal Dragon. I don't see how Hong Kong Attitude can get out of this, and unfortunately, I just felt like the top lane snowball strategy was not really enough. They only had 1 point on the map that was winning. We'll watch this again. This is the second chase up after the Drake has already been taken down. Rock goes in for the stun, but Lil V did not base and is still able to pick up the kills. Fortunately for him, Scatter of the Weak actually takes him into the brush as well, so it takes a while for him to get picked off. But Rest, in the meantime, is just going to pick up the stragglers, putting the pieces down. And this is starting to get to an unwinnable situation. There just isn't enough power on the bottom side of the lead. Too much is riding on the initial Hextech ultimatum coming in from Rock, and I don't think he can make it work. We saw in that play how the Condemn was so critical in just making sure that Camille gets no damage off and dies instantly when she comes in.
Yeah, J-Team doing a good job of forcing a bit of a stagger, right? I mean, you could still see Hong Kong Attitude going in for round two, going in for round three. They can get some cleanup, but J-Team are just making sure they trade better every time. Woody immediately turns back in onto the Solar Flare, finds two. Here's Little V, the teleport going to complete enough mission. Looks to come in on this one. Rest, excuse me! Rest is just going absolutely wild right now, and the turn from J-Team is just unstoppable.
Eminem with the flash, still not able to get out. Hana makes sure that no one escapes, and J-Team clear an open path towards this Baron. That's a closeout that I was talking about. Once they get snowballing, there's no stopping them. You can't run away from Rest that is on that red buff with the needlework, and you... Okay, no. That's a good troll. Come on, wait, come on.
Yeah, he should.
I'm trying to hype you guys up, man. I'm trying.
You know, look, you can afford to make an oopsie at this point because there's such a huge lead here. Hong Kong Attitude have not been able to secure a single objective on the map, tower or otherwise. Here, they tried again to go in. They find a pillar, but it's on Woody. He's got a Zenith Blade. He goes in, finds the two-man stun, and the teleport channel completes. Rest is in there. Hana with a great kickback, and it is just absolutely sayonara from here.
Yeah, beautiful play onto the backline as well. You can see at this point, Rest he just cuts up Camille into ribbons. Diana, the Moonfall, and Hextech Ultimatum, they both land on Lil V. At this point, he's not even taking that much damage. He already has the Wit's End complete, so extra magic resist coming in from them. With the sustain, he's just not dying at this point. So Hong Kong Attitude, I think this game is pretty much done and shut. You're 10,000 gold advantage at 21 minutes. Just Hong Kong Attitude, they drafted themselves a very narrow composition, and they just had one mistake top lane, and that was it.
Yeah. They tend to go for pretty telegraphed strategies, but unfortunately, this isn't the one that they're comfortable with. And, you know, Kongye has not been able to carry. I think there were a couple of mistakes in that draft. Would have liked in Italy, would have liked to see a lot more poke potential coming out from this team. Also, just the heavy emphasis on the first pick for Bivin. You know, the Syndra's been okay, but it just hasn't been enough. You know, Mission's been running wild, and Mission has honestly had a fantastic game, just becoming this side lane terror to pick people off, or rather this every lane and every jungle terror. So unfortunately, Hong Kong Attitude are looking at the siege coming down a couple of lanes at this moment, and it's looking like J-Team soon to be on match point as, oh my word, Mission just deletes Bivin with a couple of clicks of his keyboard.
Do you want to see a magic trick? Because Mission's got plenty of them for you. 7-1 and 8 right there. He doesn't really even have the Magi Soul Stealer, but is still able to just
he should.
One shot.
He really should. Oh boy. I think that's pretty emblematic of how this game's gone down. 22 minutes, knocking on the base here. They've got Lil V solo in the mid. Mission lands the chains. Eminem forced to Arcane shift away, and yeah, it may not end in the next couple of minutes, but you have to think soon after that at the very latest.
Yeah, I think Konger is even throwing out the question mark pings at this point. He knows that there's not much that he can do in this game anymore. And it's just a little bit too slow of a pick here overall. Here we go.
Okay,
Double Moonfall.
Gets exhausted, doesn't have the damage to follow through. He tries to get Mission, who completely bamboozles him off the side, and they just don't have the damage. Solar Flare lands, Eminem's going to be out, but K is not going to be so lucky. Goes into stasis, only to fall down pretty immediately. Hana able to kick him and pick him up, and now Rest on the chase, unleash the power, not going to be able to do nearly enough. Lil V on the front line, chasing him down all the way to Fountain. He does not care. Those silver bolts really starting to sting, and this is going to be it. What a fast finish for J-Team. No, they're not going to do it yet. Rock's cutting the wave off.
Rock trying his hardest, but at this point, there's really nothing he can do. Like, the wave isn't even chasing him anymore. Congratulations for J-Team. Really super interesting draft out of the Vayne here, and this is a champion we haven't really seen, just like the combo breaker has been so successfully. Making the Mortifier in there from Berjaya Dragons, but this is a new take on how to make sure that you don't get stuck in that combo.
Yeah, you could see Kongye going in with the desperation play, didn't even have a combo for himself. Then he tries to go hunting for Mission, but Mission's way too smart for that. Mission's way too quick for that, and there's just too much damage, so they're able to clean up here. And you can see after the fact they end up going for that dragon. Should be Soul, I believe, on that one, so it's going to be even harder now for Hong Kong Attitude to find anything. And yeah, this game's all over but for the Nexus.
Yeah, I don't see it. There really has to be some unimaginable miracle coming out, and if you look at what's happened in the team fight so far, when Diana goes in, she instantly just gets condemned out. So you actually need the Hextech Ultimatum to go in first, and then layer Kongre in. But look at this, like, they're trying to open up on Mission, and Mission is returning the fire back completely okay.
Yeah, like 1v5. It's disgusting. I mean, Mission's having an absolute blast this game. Like, there are a few things that are such a joy to be playing as, and such a terror to be playing against as a very fed LeBlanc.
This is pretty obscene.
Meanwhile,
Rest now with the 1v3.
Whoa. Yep, he's fine. Needlework, let's go. Into the Hextech Ultimatum he goes, but he's still going to be able to take one down with him. And meanwhile, the base. The base is falling.
Raid boss down. Definitely not worth it for Hong Kong Attitude here, as they are just going to lose the top lane inhibitor completely here, or at least they should. As I feel like J-Team are pretty comfortable playing this 4v5. Oh, Eminem.
I think they can, absolutely. And looking to turn in once more now. It's going to be on to Kongye. Nowhere to go for him, and down he goes. That should be it, as they will look to lock this one up just shy of the 26-minute mark. Now, J-Team true to form, when they win, they certainly win quickly, and this is going to be another one of those. In goes Woody once more. Eminem now rock back off the fountain, but the Nexus is going to be there. Hana's just going to hit him with the swag stasis. Woody even stays alive through it all, and with the teleport, that's going to be it. J-Team taking game 3 to go up 2-1 in the series.
I think Mission is actually an imposter because he flashed the Machi emote there. Mission, you're on a new team right now. You got to get the J-Team emote, man. What are you doing? But back to the game.
Having a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, a great performance from so many different players there. Mission having probably the standout game of his postseason so far. And I also want to throw a lot of props to Hana. Like, he was so clean in getting into the backline access, just making sure that Eminem, even as an Ezreal, isn't able to escape through most of these engages right here. So beautiful stuff being done. But on the flip side, I felt like Hong Kong Attitude made a couple of drafting mistakes at the very end. They had a poke set up with the Ezreal and the Nidalee available, and they could have also gone for Jace, actually. In this composition, but unfortunately they went on a direction where I felt was a little bit too forced, because you're not going to get priority from your mid lane. Your jungle is naturally going to be lagging behind in the Lee Sin, and to force a play that is very telegraphed on only one point on the map, it's a little too easy to read. And to be honest, they still could have ran away with it if not for that one big misplay in the top lane. They lost 4 members in top, and Vayne got 1 free tower plus half of the second tier 2 tower. And that was pretty much all she wrote. That was the kill that just kind of blew the entire thing up there. And congratulations to Rest. Like, he played under duress very, very well. Being able to sneak out of the first 3v1, holding his ground in the second one to do a great turnaround. So, yeah, I just feel like Hong Kong Attitude's overall strategy was a little bit too telegraphed, and I would have liked them to go for the Nidalee. Even though it's less late game power, it's more guaranteed that Korea can actually influence the lanes early on.
Yeah, well, they never really got to late game, so that's I think certainly going to work well for them this next time if they can get it. But yeah, for Hong Kong Attitude, they need to find some answers. I think they're the ones who kind of baited themselves a little bit in that drafting phase. And kudos to J-Team, because for the second time in a row, they've really successfully denied a lot of what Hong Kong Attitude want to do. And you can see it's another one of those big gold graphs that just swings out of control. A little bit more gradual this time. It wasn't quite as vertical, but certainly looked very favorable for the team from Taipei. And now looking at it, power picks across the board. I mean, just the Gwen did great. Hana did fantastic. Mission had an absolute blast. And, what's not to like? J-Team, they go up 2-1 in this series. They're going to be on match point now going forward. They kind of get a perfect game from the objective standpoint. 11 towers to 0. All the dragons in the game ended on the soul. I mean, pretty much the only blemish on the record is just being denied that first Rift Herald,
Yeah, that's all that's gone wrong for them. And I think we're seeing a huge problem in this matchup right now is Bivin doesn't have an answer to LeBlanc. I feel like LeBlanc and Lucian are almost going to have to be permabanned from Hong Kong Attitude's side. And without the Twisted Fate, Bivin is really lacking impact in most of these teamfights. Hana gets a well-deserved MVP. Like, a lot of these teamfights lockdowns were just starting for him, and the rest of the team can snowball so easily off of that with Night Hunter and Needlework to finish off the kills. So this is postseason J-Team for you. This is postseason Hana. We talked about J-Team being the team of summer, and they have finally arrived. Hana utility carry, I think he's transitioned completely to the most stable point on JT.
I think you're absolutely right. 2 games in a row now on this Lee Sin, he's really shown us what he can do, getting into the backline, playing extremely effective. It's also just an extra extra bit of bonus that it's such a takeaway from both Kongye and Bivin. So really, just the strategy keeps on working now for the side of J-Team. We will see what happens this next game. You know, we've talked about how this could go the distance, but we'll have to find out. We're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we return, Game 4 of the series.